Great. And Tiffany, can you confirm that you'll be taking notes for this meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
And we will also have the recording too, right?
Yes.
To fall back in case
As soon as we're done here, I'll go ahead and post it on the internet as quickly as I can. The minutes can look a lot like last year's minutes in terms of, you can just go ahead and change the names of the people involved, but hopefully it will follow the same format, so it should be easy. And the link to the minutes, and we will be voting on them. The link to the minutes are in the email that I sent yesterday. Okay, we'll just give a few more minutes and then we'll go ahead and start the meeting. All right, I don't see new people joining. We're at 19 right now. I expect that people might be added in over the process of this meeting. So let's go ahead and call it, starting the meeting at 7:04. And first order of business is for someone to make a motion to approve the annual meeting minutes from last year. We will not be voting on minutes from past board meetings.
I move that we adopt the minutes from last year's annual meeting.
Okay, does anybody second?
Excuse me, I think we need 24 GHFL members here to proceed with any vote.
Well, we'll just go ahead and proceed with the vote, and
You don't have 24 members.
Hey, Eric, when I count the screen, I think I count 26. Is that correct? Are we all Goose Hollow members here? Let me go 3, 6, 9.
It's 19,
10,
not
12,
including
13,
Alan.
19. Oh, there we go. Yep, I guess you could look at the bias of the screen. 19. Okay.
You can proceed with other information. It's just you can't take a vote on anything.
Well, can I say something? I mean, what are we supposed to do?
Well,
Yeah.
Sherry, don't you have 3 GHFL members there right now?
Well, Daniel's at home and he's going to be voting, but I don't know if he's clocked onto his computer yet. He was at our condo and he's walking back, so hopefully.
But Stephen's there with you and he's listening.
Oh,
to
absolutely, Steve.
Okay, so that counts as one more. Can you call or text Daniel to get on, and can other people phone a friend and get people on so we have a quorum?
Just to clarify, do they have to be dialed in, or is this just tallying the votes? So when we tally the votes, if we have over 24 votes, does that validate or verify the vote, or is that not the case?
There have to be 24 GHFL members at the meeting. As an example, I went to the Pearl district last week where they had their election. They needed 20 members to have a quorum. They wound up with 35 of which 30 or 31 were members, so they were able to proceed.
Hey, Jerry, is your wife there?
I'm sorry. She's at an architect's meeting.
What about your wife, Martha? Is she there?
No, I just asked that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He's at an architect's meeting.
Hi, everyone. I was wondering if maybe somebody could explain how the vote will actually happen. Did I miss earlier instructions, or are we just raising our hand here in the Zoom, or?
No, we just got on, Mel. There's online, and Catherine, when she runs the meeting and runs the election, she'll go ahead and explain all that.
Oh, okay.
I think Steve has got a hold of Daniel. I don't know if he's back at his apartment yet or not. I didn't think there would be a problem.
Daniel just got there.
He just got back to his
He just
apartment.
has to boot up.
He has to boot up his computer, so.
Scott, let me ask you a question while we're waiting. Last year, we had some online ballots that were brought to the Legends and people filled them out and so on. Was the mechanics of that we just collected those paper ballots at the Legends after they were filled out, or were they mailed back to people? Do you happen to know the answer to that?
I don't. Tracy, do you happen to know? Because I was elected during that time. I wasn't even part of the board.
I believe Jerry's the one who volunteered to serve, or, sorry, Catherine, you have the answer.
I have the answer. Yeah. David, last year, we had a volunteer, it looks like, who stayed at the Legends for a 2-hour time window on Friday after the meeting to collect and distribute ballots. So I know that you and I had talked about possibly arranging a drop-off situation between tomorrow and picking up on Saturday. So I think it's, as our volunteer, I think you can maybe get to choose what you feel more comfortable doing.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to know what the background is. I think the concierge at the Legends will accommodate us by allowing that.
Okay,
All right,
so
thanks.
when yeah, sure. So when we get going, I'll say that that's the option we've chosen.
Okay.
Can someone call like Cal or any other past board members to see if they could hop on? I'm making some phone calls now.
Cal no longer lives in the neighborhood. He's not eligible, but there are other board members. I'm making calls too. Everybody should be phoning a friend right now.
Is Marilyn Weber on?
Yeah, you can call. Okay.
I don't have her phone number, but she's, it usually comes to our meetings.
I just got one person to come to log in. She's going to take a minute or two.
Okay.
Looks like we only need 2 more people.
Right. We just need 2 more people. If Alan is not considered a member of GHFL. Is that true, Alan? You don't own property in the neighborhood, do you?
No, I don't have any qualifications to be a member.
Do you want property?
If someone's willing to give it, I'll take it.
Piece of a parking lot.
You want me to sell you my house over there?
Maybe a Northwest Examiner distribution box or something like that?
Rachel's wanting to know if we can count her. that when she comes to visit us every once in a while, she stays in our condo, so therefore she lives in our condo currently, at least for the next 2 weeks. But she hasn't signed a GHFL. I don't know what to do. I mean, I don't think I've ever been to a meeting where this has happened.
So the bylaws were
Oh,
recently.
24. There's 24.
Ah,
Look at
There's
24.
Daniel. Daniel just got on.
Yeah.
Let's push on forward.
And
Okay.
And I'm taking notes, so I put down 24. Every all
You-
see that? 24.
You have 23. Alan is not a member.
No, Steve is in the conference. He's with Sherry. So there's
And-
two.
And then
I'm
you have
over here.
Carolyn and Annette, Carolyn
I'm
O'Hare, Annette Guido.
So that's 25, I guess.
Welcome.
Weber is going to join us in a moment. I just knocked on her door.
All right.
Thank you.
But I want to make sure you get Carolyn's name down. She's not listed on the screen, but I can add her so you can, and you see her.
Forgive me, whoever's talking, can you please give me your name in the chat so I could document that for the minutes?
Yep.
Okay. Well, we definitely have more than enough people to start the meeting. So welcome, everybody. I'm Scott Schaefer, the GHFL president. We're going to try to move through the agenda. I am only going to do the formalities at the very beginning, and then we'll be turning the meeting over to the Elections Committee headed by Catherine Sims of the board. So the first order of business is approval of the 2020 annual meeting minutes. They were attached, or at least linked, in the email that was sent out yesterday. They're fairly straightforward, but it's important that we go through the formalities and approve those minutes. So do I have a motion to approve the 2020 annual meeting minutes?
I move.
Okay, thank you, Warren. Anybody second?
Second.
Thank you, Jerry.
Hey, wait a minute, I can't. Oh, it's a general meeting.
It is a general meeting, right? Yep. And Tiffany, did you get those names? So Warren Bull
Yep.
moved.
Annette Guido and Carolyn Ofiara.
Right, but in terms of moving to approve the minutes, it was Warren Bull moved to approve and Jerry Powell seconded.
Forgive me, I was taking down notes on the chat right here. Okay, so Jerry Powell was the second. And then who was the first?
And Warren Bull.
Great. Improvements. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Any discussion? Not hearing any discussion, let's go ahead and vote. All in favor of approving the minutes, go ahead and raise your hand. I'm not.
Since we have so many folks, let me look through each screen to make sure all hands are raised. Good, everything looks up. I don't see any hands down. The person I'm sorry, I'm just looking for board members here. Okay, never mind. Okay. Thank you, everyone. It's nice to see a lot of new faces out there.
Okay, all opposed to approving the annual meeting minutes from 2020? Raise your hand, or either virtually or physically. There's a raise hand icon that you can use. Laurie, your hand is raised. I don't know if that's to vote not to approve. And Eric, you have a clapping signal. I don't know if that means that you're very happy with the minutes.
This is Lori. Sorry, it was a mistake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Did you get on?
So I think the only person who's objected to the minutes is
Because I saw
Eric.
someone whose name was J.A. and I was wondering if it was you.
Eric,
Yeah.
can you
Last
confirm?
time you did have video, so you can do the whole thing. We were just on the edge, and we just came in.
Eric, can you confirm that you're rejecting the minutes?
Yes, I am. And I can't get that clap off the
Okay.
Okay, just for clarification, Eric, are you rejecting the annual minutes or the approved last month's minutes?
No, this is only this is an annual meeting. We're not voting for any board meeting minutes. That happens.
Oh, sorry. Okay, what are you rejecting, Eric, for the record? No, okay.
It should be, if it's rejection of approval of the minutes from 2020, the annual meeting November minutes.
Okay.
That were linked in the email that we sent out. Okay, anybody abstaining? I'm not seeing any hands raised. So
My bag, honey.
it looks like motion passes. Annual meeting minutes are approved. Next order of business is the president's report. Then we'll go to the treasurer's report. And then we'll turn it over to the elections committee and we'll have the election. I sent this document out, linked it in the email that was sent out yesterday, but I'll go ahead and read it for the record. This past year has been a challenging one for the neighborhood in general, with a marked increase in houseless living on our streets and sidewalks and its attendant trash and crime. And yet an expanding number of people want to live, work, and play here. Construction cranes are everywhere, and we expect up to another 3,000 people to move into our neighborhood in the next 5 to 10 years, increasing our population by 40% or more. The new addition to Providence Park has added space for 4,000 fans while still allowing iconic views from the stadium of the MAX train passing by on Southwest 18. Neighborhood pressure did this. Lincoln High School is completely redeveloping its campus with space for up to 2,100 students. It is currently at around 1,600. In a new $200 million building, field, and childcare center. These state-of-the-art performance facilities will also offer a seismically safe shelter for the neighborhood in case of disaster, and a new track and field for use by Goose Hollow neighbors outside of school hours. The Goose Hollow Foothills League, which is our neighborhood association of Goose Hollow, is still going strong with increased membership and a group of highly energized leadership that bodes well for the future. I yearn for the time when we can put COVID in the rearview mirror and feel safe again having in-person meetings. It is just not the same seeing you on my computer monitor in small boxes, arrayed in a grid. Zoom has become a verb. But we did get together in person. I could sense the positive energy. We had a record turnout by far for our neighborhood picnic this summer, and I wish to personally thank the Timbers Thorns organization for hosting us on the penthouse deck of their marvelous new stadium wing. We also brought back Goose Hollow Days for 2021 with 48 vendors, live music, a flash mob, eats and drinks, a raffle, and fairly nice weather. Many thanks to our volunteers and neighborhood businesses and organizations that help make this happen. We want to keep the momentum going and make this an ever-expanding neighborhood tradition. As for action, our two primary committees, Planning and Public Safety, Parking, and Transportation, did yeoman's work in bringing information and empowerment to the people. We've conducted tent counts, hosted conversations with police officers and other safety personnel, engaged with city council, organized trash cleanups, and prevented ongoing use of our neighborhood as a through street for large trucks carrying hazardous waste. We've met with developers and architects, hosted Portland city planners, and will make our voice heard on planning issues in front of city council in a few weeks. Our website continues to be a model. That's a very self-serving statement, teaching both the history of the neighborhood from the 1800s and making available our neighborhood minutes going back to 1976. We now have a neighborhood information sheet containing demographic information about who we are. Did you know that 85% of us are renters? I recently had a conversation with members of an adjacent neighborhood that were quite surprised by that fact. And I think we need to continue to try to get the information out there to people because they look at our neighborhood and just don't know who we are yet. So outreach is going to be increasingly important in the future. The recent census data should provide us a whole treasure trove of new information about who we are and where we come from. But I do know this, we are all neighbors in one of the most interesting neighborhoods in Portland, and I look forward to seeing you in 2022. Finally, I'd like to give a special shout out to all of the directors, both those who are currently serving and outgoing directors, for the wonderful work that they've done. It's not difficult, it's not easy, it's very difficult. It's not easy to spend your time volunteering for an organization like this when you could be doing something different. And so I'd like to ask all of the current board members to raise their hand to receive recognition for all the work that they've done this year. And I see several of them that have been serving in the past. So thank you for your service, everyone.
Thank you, Scott, for your leadership.
Well, it's been very interesting. I'll put it that way. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Bridget, who will tell us about our finances. Bridget?
Hi, everyone. I'm Bridget Bimrose. I'm serving as treasurer. I'm also gonna, in our chat here, I'm gonna put the link to my treasurer's report. So if you didn't see it in the email, embedded in the email, you can always follow along as well. I was elected in the vintage year of 2019. It was a simpler time, and I assumed responsibility as treasurer in 2020. So I'm gonna kind of pick up there and walk you through kind of what we've done in this past, over these past few months and initiatives, and try to keep it short and sweet. Again, it's really nice to see some familiar faces on here and some fresh faces too. All right, I'll get right into it. So in the spring of 2020, we had a need to kind of shift our resources almost exclusively online because going to the bank wasn't going to be an option unless you scheduled an appointment, and it just wasn't going to be realistic for business operations and our needs. So I walked on down and connected with a guy named Kyle Canifax from Umpqua Bank, which is the bank that we use. And I filled out all the necessary paperwork to kind of update myself as treasurer and also take off a bunch of folks that were listed on there that were no longer involved with our account. And so what this did is it allowed me to kind of update everything we had and take everything that we do online. So I have the Umpqua Bank app on my phone. I check all of our deposits and expenditures online, and I'm able to do it in real time with the business app. And it's password secure and it meets all of our operational needs. And I bring this up because what it's done is it's freed up my time that would have taken stomping down to the bank to deposit a check or waiting in the mail for a bank statement. And it's given me time to do things like write thank you notes when people make donations, which honestly is more fun. And I think it's a better use of my time as far as my passion for serving the neighborhood. Then a few months into my tenure, David Delaney had a great idea about tracking our expenditures in Excel and then sharing them with the board prior to every meeting. And so you'll see the way I kind of tracked our transactions with check numbers and descriptions for our records. And it was a really great suggestion. And it's been a good exercise for me to kind of update things. And that way, when I do my treasurer's report, I'm able to share those Excel sheets and people could kind of see where we're at. And I do the same thing with savings. So our savings right now is $5,125.89. And our checking is $1,679.70. And I'm happy to share that this past month, we had a donation, an anonymous donation of $200 to support Tiffany Hammer's pilot programs. And I just thought that was so kind. And I wanted to mention that really quickly, and then we'll get back to this annual report. So in the summer of 2021, I added an Oregon bottle drop fund balances tab in coordination with Tiffany Hammer, and she manages the bag credits and she's listed on the account for access. But I thought, and she suggested this as well, we thought, wouldn't it be fun if, well, fun, I don't know if that's the right word, maybe I'm nerding out a little too much, but wouldn't it be fun if we also included a tab tracking that so people can see our progress, and that way when she speaks to it, we already have that information prior to the meeting. Now, Goose Holidays has been led by other treasurers in the past, and they did a great job tracking expenditures. And in 2019, Goose Holidays had a net profit of $1,622.93. Unfortunately, this year, the only source of income for Goose Holidays 2021 was the sponsorship grant from BMW Portland and the raffle ticket proceeds. So there was actually a net loss of just under $1,000, and thank goodness we could fall back on the profit from previous years. So you'll see that there's a detailed list of invoices, reimbursements, and expenditures in the Excel sheet. And I also provided a link to all of our invoices and reports to the board in August, September, and October. So that is my treasurer's report. It's been, honestly, I've learned a lot. And whoever takes over in this position, I want to make sure you know I'm going to meet with you. I'll give you all of our passwords. You can take me off that account and you can make this your own. I kind of came into it with little to no guidance. And I just want to make sure that the next kind of generation or the next folks that are taking this over are prepared to succeed. And I'm really proud of what we've done up to this point. Over.
Thank you, Bridget. I should emphasize that we have a very, very new board. Most members have only been a part of it for 1 or 2 years. So there's very little institutional knowledge that we're relying on. And it's pretty amazing that we've been able to function. And it's just a testament to the people that are on the board. So I think they're to be applauded. And Bridget, I thank you for your service. It's pretty amazing. We just needed, are you millennial or Gen X or what? Gen Z? What are you?
Well, you know, Scott, a lady doesn't love talking about her age,
No.
especially since I just turned 40. But you know what, Scott? Immaturity lasts a lifetime, baby.
Yeah. All I know is that you know how to do technology better than the rest of us. So it's good to have a younger person in there.
40.
Thank you, Bridget.
We're near 40.
I would say 30.
I thought, yeah, maybe 30, like Rachel's age.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and turn the meeting over. And I can stop talking. I'll turn it over to Catherine Sims, who is the head of the elections committee, and we can do this election. Catherine, take it away.
Great. Thank you, Scott. And thanks everybody for being here. I extra appreciate the recruitment effort because this is a special meeting today. So thank you to everybody who reached out and made calls. And also a thank you to our candidates who are running. As we all know, this is a voluntary position. So it's really nice just to have interest and we really appreciate it. So I'm going to just kind of give you some information about the election, how it's going to work, what our kind of timelines and timeframes are. And then each candidate that we have will have about 3 minutes to speak and kind of share your position and your thoughts and your interest and why you're interested in joining the Goose Hollow Foothills League Board. After which we'll have about 10 minutes for question and answers. So these are questions directed at candidates. Things that they've said that you kind of want to probe a little bit more with or just ask a couple of clarifying questions. So please keep those questions directed towards our candidates and on topic. So we currently have 6 positions open and we have 6 write-in ballots. In a second, I am going to ask for nominations from the floor though, because that's also an option. We have 5 two-year positions and 1 one-year position that are open. And I'm going to put, Scott sent this link out also in the meeting, or excuse me, in the email that he sent this week. I'm also going to put it here in the chat box for anybody else. This is the voting form.
I have to get online.
The form will stay open from right now until Saturday, November 20th at 7 p.m. That is when the elections will close. That's for the online ballot. The same deadline actually applies for our paper ballots. David Delaney has volunteered graciously to arrange with the concierge at the front desk of the Legends to allow us to leave some paper ballots, which he will pick up over the weekend. So please have your ballots in by 7 p.m. And then the course of action after that is our friends over at Neighbors by Northwest. Give me for 1 second. Neighbors by West Northwest, Neighbors West Northwest, NWNW, and David Delaney will tally the votes. NWNW will tally the online votes. David will report the paper ballots. The two of them will make sure that there's no overlap, that people aren't voting twice. Please keep in mind that if you vote for more than 6 people, your vote will be invalidated and will not count. It's also the same if you vote for the same person twice, like if you write in their name and check the box for their name, because there is a write-in option. So please keep that in mind that your vote will not count. Keep it to your 6 people. Let me just look through my list here.
Sorry, could I just comment quickly that
yes, please.
Traditionally we've made it open for the press to observe the counting. And so if Alan would like to observe that, or be on an email string or something, then that would accommodate that tradition.
Great. Alan, are you up for that? Oh, you're on mute, Alan.
Yeah, you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I can do that.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tracy. I should acknowledge too, this is my first time in this position. So Tracy and a lot of different members of this board who've been here for a little while have been very helpful through this process. So to any of you, please chime in if I skip over something or something is a little off. Thanks, Tracy.
Sorry,
yes.
just quickly. The voting form says up to 8 people. It says 8 candidates.
But we only have 6 positions.
Hey,
So if-
Catherine, I think it's a dated form. Do you have a fresh link? It has, I think, the previous candidates, at least the one I just used from the chat. I don't think it actively has the list of the newest candidates.
Here, why don't
Let me
you
look
try?
at the email too, and maybe that link is different.
Try this one.
Okay.
Give that a shot.
Thank you very much.
Will somebody just let me know in the chat box if that's the correct link? I think that is last year's. Yeah, good. Thank you. Thank you so much, Bridget.
You're good to go.
So use the second link. That's the correct one. Okay, great. So before we get into having our candidates speak, and then once that's done, I'll also wrap up with how we're going to talk about election results and when you can expect to get those. But before we jump in for our 6 candidates who have written in and who are on this call today, would anybody like to make a nomination while on this call today? Just going to wait another second or so. Okay. All right, great. Well, let's move forward. I'm going to keep an eye on the clock. So if you can, keep an eye on your chat box. If you get a little message from me, it means it's kind of time to wrap it up and sort of make your points. I'm just going to go through our list rather than doing the asking somebody to go first and then we all sit here in silence for a second. I'm just going to start with my list from the top down. So Steve Atkins, I have you up first.
Sorry, he's running a couple minutes late. If he could go last, please.
Sure. Yes, no problem. Thank you. All right. Up next on my list is Lori Goldsmith.
Well, hello there, neighbors. As Catherine said, I'm Lori Goldsmith. I've lived in the neighborhood since 2016. I'm running for a board position to be an advocate for residents and to protect the residential feel of Goose Hollow. I see the GHFL as an effective organization that contributes to the livability of the neighborhood. I want to be actively involved in solving the problems that confront us. I feel the livability of the neighborhood is immediately threatened by the proposed development of Block 7. To that end, I have been participating in meetings held by the Portland Design Commission, the Friends of Goose Hollow, and the GHFL. As an individual, I have given public comment to the Design Commission in opposition to the proposed 17-story building in its present form. In my career at a complex business enterprise and in the homeowners association of my building, I've been actively involved with various committees. I work harmoniously with others towards common goals. I look forward to being even more engaged with neighborhood issues as a member of the board. Thanks very much for your time tonight.
Great. Thank you so much, Lori. Happy to have you here. All right. Again, we are going to do Q&As after everybody has an option to speak. So if you've got a question, just be sure to jot it down for yourself. Up next is Bridget, a familiar face for us.
Oh, shoot, you guys want to hear from me again? All right, here we go. So during my 2 years serving on the Goose Hollow Foothills League, I worked to reconfigure and modernize our banking, which I spoke to just a few minutes ago, our meetings, and our elections via online platforms. I did this, and I worked with Scott and a handful of other folks that volunteer their time to ensure that the neighborhood could continue necessary work operations during the pandemic. We used to meet in person. We didn't even have dial-ins. We didn't vote online. That is all brand new. So we did this to continue the necessary work operations during the pandemic, and we prioritized modern mediums of communication. I cherish the character of this neighborhood, and I support the board in achieving long-term goals and endeavors. I live in a part of the neighborhood that's traditionally underrepresented. También hablo español fluentemente. Creo que diversidad es muy importante. No sé si hay otras latinas aquí, pero es importante oír el lenguaje, ¿verdad? I speak Spanish. Had to throw that in there just in case there's any other Latinos on this call. I think that's important. And I can offer that skill set as well if we ever need translation. I served as treasurer. I served on the election committee in 2020, and I served on the Goose Holidays committee in 2021. My hobbies and interests are proud dog mom. Here's my little guy, Julio. Hiking, travel, foodie stuff, and sports. Other clubs and affiliations are the University of Portland BIPOC Alumni Chapter, Multnomah Athletic Club Arts Acquisitions Committee, Portland Travel Massive Chapter, and I'm an Adopt the Block ambassador. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bridget. You do such wonderful work for us. All right, great. Linda, you're up next.
Well, it's an illustrious bunch here. My name is Linda Rankin, and I've lived in the neighborhood for, wait for it, 20 years. And I've met some of you trick-or-treating, Halloween, you know, on the streets. I participated in Solve. I've sort of ended up taking care of my end of the Vista Bridge. I've even planted rose bushes, Tiffany. My son and I have worked on removing or addressing some of the homeless camps over here, actually on property that TriMet realized that they owned. So we were able to get that cleaned up a little bit. It was a kind of a dangerous situation there. But let me give you some of my background. Oh, and by the way, you know, since I've lived here for 20 years, I've really sort of followed what this neighborhood association has done. And I have to say, it's made some real impact. About 15 years ago, we had the hazardous material trucks regularly going down Jefferson, and that was addressed. I know they're back. We also had, where was it? Jerry and Scott helped me address some construction that was going to go on near the TriMet tunnel, and they were kind enough to respond to my email. And what else have you guys done? Oh, yes, and of course, the design review of Block 7 and the feedback on, of course, and you mentioned the Providence Park. So I would be really honored to be part of the board. And I just want to add too that, you know, I've lived in Portland since the 70s. I love Portland and I love this neighborhood. And I really want to see us preserve the character and the livability of the neighborhood, not just the single family homes, but the rentals, the storefronts, even, you know, all of the businesses in the area and the condominiums. I really think it's an important neighborhood to preserve, and we have some real serious issues moving forward. So that's my little spiel.
Thank you so much, Linda. All right. Scott Schaefer, you're up next.
Yeah, hi, everybody. You probably heard way too much from me because I wear a lot of different hats in the neighborhood, and some of it is because, again, we're a new board and I have some of the most institutional knowledge of everyone, but I am going to be handing off a lot of these because I think people are all trained up. So if you've received an email noticing this meeting, that's how I got started in this neighborhood, on the communications committee, the website, and people just kind of appointed me because by default to send out emails to people. And so that's what I've been doing. And I've been working my way up. And I'm the current president, at least for the past year, but I'm up for election again. It's been a real pleasure serving in this neighborhood. My wife and I moved here a month before our oldest child was born. So we've been here for nearly 20 years, almost as much as Linda, not quite. I think she just beat us. But I think Tracy Prince, who's my wife, knows that I'll probably be hauled out of this neighborhood on a slab. I just love it so much, love being here. And it's something that comes as much of a surprise to me as to her, because I grew up kind of in the country. And I think there's just so many great things about this neighborhood that I want to keep. There's just such unique architecture around here. You have people that have chosen to live close to the city and want to have that kind of urban lifestyle. Our kids love walking to 23rd Avenue and going to Starbucks or something like that. And there's like 3 Starbucks on 23rd and 2 on 21st. And they have their choice of like 10 different Starbucks that they can walk to. Their new love is bubble tea, and there's about 17 bubble tea places now. It's like the new phase. So I love this neighborhood. I want to keep it going. My primary purpose is outreach. And so I want to keep people involved. I want to sign up more people in the neighborhood because we have about 6,500 people that live here, maybe more, but we only have 500 or 600 people that are members of the GHFL. And I want to have more people be represented. I want people to be engaged. It's difficult because we have so many renters and we have so many students that might not be here for very long. And their last thought is being a part of a neighborhood board or being a part of a neighborhood organization like this. So outreach is key. We have the Goose Hollow Days, we have the neighborhood picnic, and it was really wonderful seeing all these people. And I think that's a great recruiting tool to allow people to see what we do and what benefits we can bring to the neighborhood. And hopefully, instead of having 10% of the neighborhood, we'll get 50% of the neighborhood engaged, and people are the treasures of the city. And I want to keep that. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. I thought for a second I was going to have to tell the president he was running out of time. All right, great. Up next is Sherry. Sherry, whenever you're ready.
Hi, my name is Sherry Salomon, and this is the last time I'm running for the board. I've been on the board for a number of years, and I have a little spiel that I prepared. My name is Sherry Salomon, and I live in the Kings Hill section of Goose Hollow, near the towering, magnificent trees of Washington Park. The windows of our condo face a glorious heritage tree that dates back to the Pittock family, one of many historic trees that grace our community. Over the years, I focused on the preservation of trees, heritage and otherwise. I've worked with Mark Nicholson, curator of the Hoyt Arboretum, to add the heritage tree tour to our Goose Hollow Days street fairs, and I've participated with the Goose Hollow Days from the beginning, and I've been on the committees there. My views are in alignment with the Friends of Goose Hollow. I stand in solidarity with the 50+ mature trees that are thriving on Block 7. My mission is to save Block 7 from the atrocious parking garage that the MAC is proposing. By electing me, hopefully you'll be adding a voice to help save the livability of Goose Hollow. And I just loved living here. We came here in 2013 with our son who's on the autism spectrum, and he has thrived here. We have really enjoyed living here and being a part of this community. And I, like everyone else, I just really want that livability to continue. I don't want anything bad to happen to our beautiful little neighborhood and the wonderful people that are in it, the diverse group of neighbors. And I just, humbly ask you for another vote. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sherry. All right, we're back to Steve. Is Steve able to join us? If not, I have Steve's statement.
Oh, g'day, I'm Steve. I think my wife's hiding me at the moment because she's terrified of how I look after pretending to exercise. So thank you for giving me the time. No, I'm just running for the board. I've been living here for, 7.5 years. We've been very lucky to raise a family of 5. 2 of them are heading off to college now, which is a bit of a shock to the system. We still have one at Lincoln, and I'm just running to try and see what I can do to help the community. The community's given a lot to my family over the years, and I don't have particular feels, I'm sorry, about Block 7. I mean, I'm a MAC member, but if I can help in any way, then that's why I'm running. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm rather exhausted after the pretend exercise this evening.
Great, Steve, thank you so much. I feel like there's a comment to be made about the pretend exercise, but I can't think about it right now. So we'll just move forward and go into the question and answer portion. Does anybody have any questions you'd like to direct at any candidates for specific comments or things that you'd like to know about?
So I should say, Catherine, that normally when we have in-person annual meetings, this is where we kind of break and mill about and talk in like small groups. So it's a little bit different than being kind of in a Zoom conference, but perfectly willing to answer questions about the neighborhood or ourselves.
Well, I'm happy to walk around my living room with my laptop in my hand if that makes people feel like they're milling about. But I think I think that would just cause some distraction.
Scott, when you bring that up, makes me miss the days of when we actually got to see each other in person during this election process. It was so much fun. So for all of you who are new here, hopefully someday we'll regain that normalcy where we could actually see each other face to face, our community, and also people of the board in person as well. And sometimes when I'm floating through Goose Hollow, people stop me on the street and they'll say, "You're a Goose Hollow board member," and that's such a good feeling to connect with the community and have the community see who represents them as well. So thank you for running today. We'll do the best we can on Zoom, but I think many of us board members would like to meet you in person at some point if we haven't already as well. There's a lot of new faces, and Linda, I think I've seen you before, and Steve, I don't think I've ever met you in person. My question to actually all of you new folks that are applying for the board, did you meet any of us at the Goose Hollow Days in person? Any one of you? Or did you go to Goose Hollow Days or the annual picnic?
I was disappointed I was unable to attend. Vadim told me about it and I made a previous commitment. But
Linda, you're Vadim's neighbor. He couldn't make it tonight on short notice, but he did mention that he thought you were a pretty solid neighbor to have and thought you'd be an upstanding board member alongside all of us. So thank you so much for bringing that up.
Yeah, he asked me to, I had to really think about it because I really want to do a good job. And I thought, well, what, this would be a really good thing to do. I'd really love to have the opportunity.
I managed to get along to the Goose Hollow Days and got to meet a lot of the vendors. I'm not sure if I got to meet any individual board members though.
Yeah, Steve, I think I've met you.
Well, the funny accent's a bit of a giveaway, but no.
Yeah, I think so.
You're gonna let me?
You want me to put the video on? Hold on.
Yeah, you're gonna have to show us your face.
Sorry.
You can't be J.A. Oh yes, I have met you.
Atkins and
yeah, hi.
G'day.
I couldn't figure out how to change my name. I'm really good at some technology, but the social stuff is just kind of beyond me.
Yeah, it's a time sink.
Well,
Steve,
I'm sorry, Tiffany, maybe just by way of explanation why we're not having in-person meetings. Normally we would have these meetings at the Multnomah Athletic Club, and they've been kind enough to give us access to the rooms for free and actually feed us, home baked cookies and ice water and things like that. It's kind of a wonderful benefit. And for those who aren't members of the MAC, it's kind of an interesting opportunity to see what it's all about because it's such a huge institution in our neighborhood. But because of COVID, they're not hosting meetings for outside organizations, which is a shame. And it's been difficult to find a substitute location. If any one of you is aware of a place where we can meet as a group safely, then I'm all ears because I really do think that there's a real benefit to being in the same room together.
Is that sort of the milestone or the barrier now to meeting again in person, is to find a location that's adequate?
In my mind, it is. I know that there are some people that are still concerned about having meetings indoors, David, but if we can find another location that's willing to host us, I'm going to jump all over that because I think it's important that we at least have that option.
Yeah, I wonder if the churches or condos, I don't live in a condo, they usually have rooms that they provide.
You may want to revisit chatting with the Timbers. Remember when we met a couple of times for our board meetings there, and they even provided a microphone when it was a little too loud when the MAX train went by. So I know they're not available every third Thursday of the month, but maybe they could give us one or two here or there.
We used to meet at the United Methodist Church across the street.
Yes.
I think that became more difficult, and then they kept putting us in a place that was inaccessible to some people because it was down some steep stairs, or it kept getting harder and harder.
Yeah, the United Methodists are hosting another shelter this winter, and those concerns make them a little bit less accessible to us. I was wondering if anybody had talked with NARA, the Native American Recovery Association. They've got a swell meeting room in that building on the corner of Madison and 18th.
Huh.
I haven't, Jerry, but I'm willing to try anything.
Yeah.
I talk to the ladies when they come out for their breaks. A lot of times they're right across the street and they've got a new roof. I could try to mention it and see what one of the people I've talked to is a manager. They've got a lot of different people involved over there. I could give it a try and see what, I didn't even know they had a meeting room, but I could broach the subject. It wouldn't be much of effort for me because they're usually out there talking anyway. I'll give that a go.
Great. Oh, sorry, Doug, go ahead.
Yeah, I only know one person over there by name right now, but they're right there, and I'm always walking by them, and I could just start up a conversation, see what happens.
Okay, great.
Awesome.
Catherine, I guess it's 10 minutes or up.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say, I want to gear us back a little bit so we can wrap up the question portion of things. Does anybody else have any other questions for any of our 6 candidates tonight? Marilyn, yeah.
Would there be a requirement that when we meet wherever, that we are all vaxxed? We could show our vax cards as we enter.
Yeah. I'll do thumbs up for that.
Yeah, Marilyn, I think kind of again, like when we get back to being able to, well, I think when that conversation starts to happen around getting vaxxed and finding a place being the first one, then maybe that conversation around are people vaxxed and how do we talk about that will kind of come second. But I do just want to go back to our candidates and ask anybody if you've got any direct questions for our candidates about anything that they mentioned in their 3 minutes that they had available. Okay, great. All right, well, just a few things to kind of wrap up with. A couple of things will be a repeat just from the beginning, just to get this information out there twice. But the second link that's posted in our chat box and the link that went out in the email is the correct link to use. It will expire and not be able to be accessed November 20th on Saturday at 7 p.m. So it's open for a full 48 hours. Again, David Delaney has volunteered to drop off some paper ballots tomorrow at the Legend, so you'll be able to check with the concierge there, and then he will be picking them up because that same deadline of November 20th at 7 p.m. also applies to the in-person ballots. And again, NWNW, David Delaney and Alan Clausen will confirm and tally the votes, and then they will be sent out via email to the neighborhood and posted on the Goose Hollow webpage once the tallies have been confirmed. I want to be able to give you an exact date of when we'll be able to do that, but next week is kind of an interesting week with a holiday coming up for people, so please have a little bit of grace with us. Ideally, I'd like to have them posted by the 24th, by Wednesday, but again, I can't, everybody's got things going on right now, so have a little bit of grace. We'll get them up and out as soon as we can.
I have a question about the voting. So when we got the link for this meeting, there was you could vote on that, but is that good, or do you have to use the one that's in the chat room?
They should be the same, Sherry.
Okay, so I shouldn't have any problem, because I was trying in the chat and for some reason I wasn't having any luck with my particular iPad for whatever reason.
Yeah, okay, yeah. They should be the same. If you've got any trouble though, reach out and we'll get you the right link.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Doug.
When I look at it, it's showing a Google email account that I have. It's not the email account that I use all the time, or the one that is maybe, that doesn't make any difference though, right?
Don't believe so.
Okay, I don't even know where they found that. That's, I have about 3 Google email accounts, so that they show the PCC one. I don't know where.
See, this one has all the people on it. It says vote for up to 8. That's the one I have. So that's not the right one.
No, it's
This-
good.
That's,
What am I doing? Okay. I'm sorry.
Are you good, Sherry?
Wait a minute. Here's the thing.
Can you make a copy
You know,
of that? So I can get the
I
email.
I have, that must have been for 2020 documents. So is it the second one that on the, I
Yes.
hate computer. Okay, it's the
No,
second
you're doing
one,
great,
right?
Sherry. You're doing great. Yeah, it's the second one.
Okay,
Yep.
so it's the second one, 2021. And I just want to make sure while I've got, oh no, this is like a huge spreadsheet that I've got now. So, and I'm trying, oh no,
that must be the finance.
that's the finance report.
Hey, Sherry,
I-
if you'll mute
yeah.
yourself, just go ahead and mute yourself. I'll call you and talk you through it.
Okay, thank you. Let me see if I can get this.
Go ahead and mute
Thank
yourself.
you.
Thanks, Tracy. Doug, you have a question? Another question? No, you're good. Okay. Anybody else have any additional questions about the election process, how you're voting, when it ends, any of those things?
I had a question. You mentioned that Alan would be tabulating the votes at NWNW.
No, Anastasia Zerker will be tallying the votes along with David Delaney, and Alan will be a third party.
I
Fourth
don't
party,
know
really.
if that's possible, but that you can bring up with Alan. He's person non grata at NWNW.
I think he can still tally votes, though, and get us back a response.
Not if he's not allowed in their building.
He doesn't need to be in their building, Eric.
All righty. I just wanted to get clarification.
Alan, just to check in with you, do you feel pretty good about it?
I'm fine to do my part, but I've been banned from even being on a Zoom meeting with coalition staff. So what they might be kicking me out of is hard to say.
I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So far, there hasn't been any pushback about that.
Well, I've gotten some pushback.
I haven't. It's a very good point, though.
Scott, did the Alan Clausen's referring to the email where he was banned? Did you make the note of that to the board that he's been banned and the impact on our neighborhood association?
Well, there's been several impacts on our neighborhoods, and we're going to need to address this next year. Our bylaws were changed to specify that advertisements for our meetings be advertised in the Northwest Examiner, and that's done through Neighbors West Northwest. In the past, it had been a page that Neighbors West Northwest had bought monthly, and it was just a list of all the neighborhoods and meetings, and it was free for us to advertise in that. This year, and I think Catherine can confirm, we had to pay, what, $240, $250 just to advertise for 1 month for this election. And normally it would be free because we just kind of piggyback on the old system. In the past year or two, they went to like a quarterly publication, and then now it's just not happening. So we need to figure out either changing our bylaws or figure out another way to advertise our meetings so that it's appropriate.
And just as a point of clarification, we're trying to do announcements. We're not doing ads. I mean, spending $240 for an ad. I mean, if we have to do it twice, that's real money coming out of our checking account. So anything we can do, whether it's emailing the hundreds of people we have listed as members or sharing neighborhood announcements, we'll get the word out there.
Thanks, Bridget. All right.
We have a hand up. Eric, do you have a question? Does anybody else besides Eric have a question? Eric, you can go first, but I'm gonna look around the screens. There's 3 windows I have to make sure that hands are up for. Okay, go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, my understanding is that we paid for an ad in the Examiner for Goose Hollow Days. And previously, while NWNW did pay for their community ad, when they first stopped using Allen on a monthly basis, they still were supposed to put an ad in October, which they did, and in November. Although I noticed this year it was not in the November edition. I got a response from Bridget when I asked, and she said she had gotten, I guess from Anastasia, that it was supposed to run in both the October and November issue. So I don't know whether NWNW dropped the ball, but my understanding is that we only paid for an ad through the Northwest Examiner for Goose Hollow Days, not for the election.
Eric, that's correct.
That's correct, Eric. We placed 2 announcements
Okay,
rather than an ad.
Forgive me, just for the note-taking purposes, the 2 ads that we paid for this year was for the Goose Holidays and not the election. Is that what I heard?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Any other questions about election? You all look like a bunch of wonderful voters. I love it. Okay.
Thank you, Catherine, for doing this for us.
You're welcome, Sherry.
It's not 9 o'clock. Can we really end this meeting?
I'm like a little weirded out. I feel like we can.
Let's trick these new board members into thinking we keep these down to an hour.
Yeah.
Hey, Scott, you know what? Tiffany I always have something to say. I would love to actually give a quick little blurb of safety, livability, and things that have happened this month in our neighborhood really quick. Because for all of us who live and work or reside in Goose Hollow, it's important to always know what the happenings are. Do you mind if I do a quick little blurb?
Well, honestly, Catherine's running the meeting right now, so you got to clear it with the boss.
I love it. You're limited to 4 hours, Tiffany. Keep it tight.
Oh. Yeah, watch out. I'll try to be super brief and quick. Thank you, Goose Hollow neighborhood. This month, the month of November, Solve did a big mass cleanup. It happened this Wednesday. We went through the span of Goose Hollow. Overall, we're looking pretty okay. They still took off about, I think, a little over 25, 30 bags off of Goose Hollow. I would like to see more of our Goose Hollow residents be a part of that. I noticed a lot were from different areas of downtown Portland coming to help out Goose Hollow, and that feels really good, but I'd like to see more faces from our community stepping up. And if you don't have the time for Solve, maybe do the Adopt a Block program. And I was thinking if one of you who are an Adopt a Blocker could look at the map that's out and shows everybody who's a part of each street of Goose Hollow. Maybe if you're not an Adopt a Blocker, adopt one of those blocks that hasn't been. Maybe the next meeting we have, someone could show us the map of what blocks are not taken care of at this time. And just as an awareness, Adopt a Blockers shouldn't really go into biohazard-filled active encampments. We leave that up to the city to follow those rules and give the shelter their respective space. As of November, our tent counts went down to 75. In the month of September, it was 108. I investigated why we went down in tents. I thought maybe it was because of cold weather snap and breezy wind and the 405 being extra noisy. But no, 30 or so campers actually moved over to downtown area by the park blocks. And I discovered that just this last week, PSU informed me that that big mass movement over by PSU moved and kind of leapfrogged over to our respective neighborhood. As a heads up, the 6 neighborhoods of downtown, we all met. That's Goose Hollow, Pearl District, Northwest District, Old Town, Chinatown, and Downtown and Southwest Hills. We did our tent counts. We're still high. We're probably about 950 tents for downtown, and that's almost the same as back in September. That's roughly about 1,350 of unsheltered people in downtown. As you probably saw, our county has yet to open up a winter shelter plan for our people out on the streets in the cold and struck out there. So we're hoping the county will get around to opening those shelters up because people are trapped outside with options. In the meantime, outreach is being performed in our Goose Hollow neighborhood, food is being distributed. This month, I had a volunteer help me distribute trash bags and sharps containers that y'all approved of with the Goose Hollow fundraising dollars. That's please put your used sharp needles in the container for up to 90 days with a way to get them removed off the street instead of leaving them on the ground in Goose Hollow. So I'm hoping we'll see that piloted program take off and we'll see the benefits of that in 90 days. So I sent to the Goose Hollow board pictures of the sharps containers, and almost every tent in Goose Hollow has received a sharps container out there. So if you see a red bin by a tent, that means that they're putting the needles in that. And I've been looking at the excess trashed out areas to see if we could work with our appropriate trash services to get those areas identified. In the last month, we had 2 out of control fires for Goose Hollow, one over by the Mac Club. The second one was about I think 2 weeks ago off of Montgomery Avenue, and Eric got to see firsthand a stolen car was torched and sent up into a big fireball off of Montgomery, scaring the neighborhood. And it just once again brings awareness that Goose Hollow is continuing to have fire destructive danger issues, and those conversations are still happening with our powers that be, that we need to do something about unsheltered camping that leads to dangerous conditions, let alone vehicles being set on fire. And so other safety concerns I have are, we used to have Bill Resley as our emergency preparedness coordinator. He was awesome. He has moved to a different neighborhood. So if you have an interest in emergency preparedness, come find me. I would love it if someone focused on those kind of things. Alex Black, we used to see him at our meetings. He is now taking care of almost all of downtown. He needs help. And if you're in Goose Hollow and you have a real passion for emergency preparedness, come find me. And then we could talk offline, because it'd be great if you could give us a report on those things. Our safety committee, it can be in only so many places all at once. Someone who, I'm the public safety chair for the neighborhood. My partner's Vadim Mazursky. He is not with us tonight, but you all approved last month for him to submit a fall bump letter requesting more public safety services for the Goose Hollow area. If you've all been paying attention to city council, they voted yesterday on the fall bump budget, and there was a lot of public safety houselessness issues that have been supported. Both city and county have put their funds together. I think it was, don't quote me, I think it was $58 million, right? Is that, I think my brain's turned off. That's a lot of money. So I would like to see that trickle down to our communities, because we've been holding on for the last, almost 2 years now in our communities, and we see it. And when we are walking, driving, and living and working through Goose Hollow, the impact of having 75 unsheltered tents right there. And yes, Doug did mention that, I think Doug did, the United Methodist Church is doing a shelter, but it's for college students who can no longer afford their funding. So that's not a shelter for just anyone. And so we have to really look outside the box of how to get these people respite and help. The other concerns that I would love to bring up to you is charter reform. As you probably know, my co-partner Vadim has been appointed to the City Charter Reform Commission by Mayor Wheeler, and he would be on this call tonight. He would suggest to sit in on these charter reform listening sessions. I'm sorry, I don't have that link on me because I didn't realize he wasn't going to be here tonight, but there's some active listening sessions about charter reform, and please lean into those conversations because as many of you are on this call, it's an interesting topic, and we watched over the last year a lot of strain on our city government, and maybe we should look at what that charter reform looks like, and this might be the time. I'm not going to advocate pro or con right now, but this is the time where I need our neighborhood to lean in. And I think that, last thing of all, safety livability meeting just happened this last Monday with Goose Hollow. We share it with the 6 neighborhoods of downtown because we felt like living in silos did not help us because our respective neighbors share the same concerns for public safety and livability concerns. So we share our safety livability meeting. So if you do come to the next one, it's going to take place in January. We're going to take a break in December for the holiday. But the last one was fantastic. Northwest District hosted it. They invited Commissioner Myron, our county commissioner. She is running for chair at Chair Kafori's spot at this time. She came to sit in on the 6 core neighborhood meeting to find out what was happening in our neighborhoods of downtown area. And also they invited Quentin Bauer of the city, who manages the trash can program, to talk to us, because we're pretty trashed out, right? Look at us, our neighborhood's handling our own trash. Goose Hollow will be getting city trash cans in the year 2022. Seems like 2022 is that magic year. Everything's 2022. I feel like I just need to skip forward to 2022. So if you're interested in learning more about trash cans in Goose Hollow, 2022 is our year. Those are the kind of conversations you get for safety, livability, and transportation. In January, when we host our turn to host the 6 neighborhoods, please join us. And if you have any interest in a guest speaker that you would like to see at our safety livability meeting, please message me offline. But I'm going to try to find a really good guest speaker for all of you, because there's so much to talk about at these safety livability meetings. And I think that's it. I think I might just pull the plug on myself and say thank you, neighborhood. And if you have any questions, email livability@goosehollow.org. Oh, and Michelle Bird saying, when is the safety meeting in January? Great question. We generally do, I think it's the 3rd Wednesday of the month, but we've been kind of all over the place right now with sharing that safety livability spot with the 6 neighborhoods. So we've been kind of asking what time slot works best for everybody. But typically it's been happening the 1st Wednesday of the month, and it's usually around 5:30. So Michelle, please email me at livability@goosehollow.org. And I'll make sure in advance to give you guys that time slot, just so you could prepare for it, because we're hosting and I want us to look good. So I want to make sure you all are a part of that. So
I just wanted to point out that anytime you have a chance to chat with Commissioner Mirren, I've talked to her about this personally, but we need more voices. We have brought her to the Goose Hollow board meetings, and we've told her, you're sending millions of needles out into the neighborhoods on an exchange program, but you are not exchanging. In other places, they are required to physically bring in, X amount of needles for X amount of needles. And so because no exchange is happening or required, our neighborhoods, all of Multnomah County is filled with just absolute bombed with needles that are sent there by Multnomah County. So there's a way you can have safety for those who need a clean needle, and you can have safety for the neighborhood, and those two things can work together.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, more pressure on Multnomah County on that.
Exactly. Thank you, Tracy. It's called harm reduction, and she's right. We have Outside In, which gives out needles every day. And the problem is we find needle bursts all around that whole area over there. And I could pick up 100 needles per hour. And so this really, really discerns me where people can get them in their foot, pets can get them in their feet. We get them in our watershed, in our drains, and what have you. And this no longer works. There's a lot of things that has happened in the year 2020 and 2021. We saw a breakdown with public safety and health and sanitation. So this is the time for Goose Hollow to lean up into the neighborhood association and speak out what concerns you, especially for the environment. For many of you on this call, I've seen a breakdown of our environment in the last 2 years, and it's breaking my heart, because Portland has been such a big supporter of environmental issues, and also, that's right up there with clean air and everything like that. So I sit on these conversations with the bigger situation in the room. So we need to ask ourselves, we have to do a better job. We have to hold our elected officials accountable, and that is knowing and understanding your neighborhood and communicating what we need. So thank you everyone for today's call.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Tiffany.
I just wanted to give a safety tip to the neighborhood. Legends residents got an email this evening that there was a break-in at the Mac parking garage. So be sure your cars are locked and all the valuables are out of it if you have a car.
Marilyn, can I say thank you for bringing that up? I call that the big elephant in the room right now. Burglaries are an all-time high in all of our neighborhoods of downtown area, all these areas. And what broke my heart was I saw Chuck Lavelle through the Central Precinct. I think he's the commander. He did a report that crime is down. And what broke my heart was actually crime is up. We all feel it. And it's been an all-time high. Every business down there right now has been burglarized, if not once, not twice, 3 times, or a 4th time. I would like to say there's a soccer company somewhere in Goose Hollow. I won't say the name of the company, but they've been burglarized 4 times. So that's the big elephant in the room. What breaks my heart is businesses and residentials, they're not filing the reports, their police reports. And I'll give you a great example of this. My husband and I have a small business. We were burglarized 4 times this month. We get burglarized and the police never even show up to your location. Even though you've been burglarized for over thousands of dollars, they don't show up because there's a lack of police response. And that's the reality of the world downtown right now. And then second, to file a police report, you are on hold for up to an hour and a half, if not longer, to get some human person to help you with your police report. So people like myself, it's hard to even get a police report. So a lot of times residents and businesses walk away without even a police report because you can't get a human person. If you've called 911 or non-emergency lately, you've noticed you've been on the phone hanging on for too long. So one of the conversations right now is our 911 needs to be that if you saw the fall bump for the city, some of the funding dollars will be allocated to the 911 response because it is a failure to us right now. If you're going to suffer a medical emergency, it's been super hard to get through. So with the fall bump city dollars, they're going to put money towards 911. So I say that if it's not mission critical, please don't tie up 911. But if it's important, you got to get through there, but try to use your non-emergency. And if it's homeless or urban urban camping related, please call PDX reporter. Don't call 911 or non-emergency. And if it's a mental health concern, please call Project Respond, the behavioral health as well. So that's something we talk about with safety and livability if you come to the meetings. So thank you, Marilyn. And by the way, keep your stuff out of your car, keep your car locked, watch your windows and doors. There's a lot more issues right now going on. Next door is pretty alarming right now. And lastly, our neighborhood of Northwest District, they've had such a huge uptick with condo break-ins, burglaries, car thefts, automobile thefts. My next door neighbor's car got stolen this last weekend. Please file your reports, but also be vigilant. And then Northwest District is actually starting their own neighborhood watch program. That's what I'm telling you. Defunding looks like this, and then your neighborhood will rise up and make a neighborhood watch. So if any of you, I'll be keeping an eye on the neighborhood, Northwest District neighborhood, 23rd Avenue area, because if you've got people out there, the residents actually keeping an eye on their community, that's amazing. And I would like to see that for Goose Hollow, but sadly we have so many renters that we don't have that all those people to rise up and do something like that in the neighborhood. We've tried it in the past and it's just not there. But maybe the times are hard enough and we will suddenly get people more interested in making sure that livability is protected. Thank you.
Can I take one comment? Portland Police Bureau does have an online reporting program, and you just check off what happened and make your description. And if you want to get on the statistics, that's the way to do it. I've done it twice, so in the past year. So I had my car broken into and everything. But yeah,
thank you, Doug.
So you don't have to use a phone. It does help to talk to somebody though, if you can.
Tiffany, one of the things that you said, and it was just like almost like a slur that you went over, and you said this is what defunding the police looks like, I think is what you said. And I think that that's really important. I'm just really alarmed by that expression, defunding the police. I find it very scary, to tell you the truth. I mean, I don't know who's wanting to defend it, but it certainly isn't my family.
Awesome. All right. Thank you all so much. I know we covered a little bit extra than we said we were going to cover here in the agenda, but thank you all for those of you who stuck around to kind of take in the information from Tiffany and just hear the comments. So to all of our candidates who are still on with us, I just wanted to say good luck and thank you so much again for your interest at GHFL, and we're just thrilled to have you, and I feel a bit inspired by the talks that everybody gave. Doug, do you have a question? Oh, you're good.
Let's just raise clapping. As you know, I've decided not to run for the board this time. And good luck to all the new members, and it's going to be great. And I'll be seeing everybody around. And so,
Thanks, Doug.
Could I just tell everyone how thankful I am for Douglas to be a part of our Goose Hollow board for the last year. You've been amazing, and you'll be missed. And I hope to see you at these meetings. And I'm actually mad at you, but you just been great. I thought that you were just a great contribution. Can we all just say thank you to Doug and just give him a little
thanks, Doug.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
Great job, Doug.
All right, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful night. For those board members, enjoy this extra 40 some odd minutes that you get back from these meetings. And we'll see you all soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
for
you,
your work,
Catherine.
Catherine.
Thank you.
Thanks, Catherine.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good
Adios.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, right?
Are you going to?